Welcome to Chamber Champions. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, Utah's voice for business. Each week, we take the opportunity to speak with leaders from business, government, education, and community service organizations who are making a difference in Utah. As a Chamber Champion, these individuals are recognized for their contributions and provided a forum to empower their vision and objectives. Today, we're joined with Bob Harmon, Chairman for the Customer at Harmons Grocery Stores. Bob, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
You know, we have an opportunity to talk to a lot of different business owners and business leaders. The first question I always ask is the obvious one, which is dealing with this pandemic. Tell me about what Harmons Grocery Stores, both as an employer, but also what your employees have been doing to adjust during these times.
Well, you know, it's just amazing to me. I've always been so proud of the work and the leadership and the passion that our associates have had for many, many years. And this pandemic really brought out the best of everyone. I was told one time, you know, if you really want to know who the person is, you apply enough pressure and see what comes out of that. And it's just been remarkable, frankly, of how our associates have stepped up. They are on the front line, and it was so encouraging that they came to work. They worked very hard, and as I think everyone knew, especially on the onset, that we were having like Christmas sales every day for a couple of weeks consecutive, which put a tremendous amount of pressure on our people to really step up, and they just really had to work very, very hard. But they did that. We helped them by putting in safety measures and precautions immediately. So what we did early on is staggered the shifts. We actually moved some of the staff to after-hour shifts. We mitigated our hours of operation a little bit to take care of that so that we could actually do our e-commerce shopping and take care of that business after hours, so that we could have our social distancing and try to keep people safe. But it also helped us pull staff that had normally other jobs that we actually had to shut down to help manage all of that work. So it's just been incredibly, emotional even sometimes to see the work and effort that's been put into really just trying to take care of the community during this and themselves during this time.
You know, Bob, I'm interested in the title. I'm a customer of Harmons, so I appreciate that you're the chairman for the customer. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I just think that it probably just denotes really more of what my role is. And my role is to, of course, make sure that our associates are cared for and they have all the tools and availability to serve the customer well. But ultimately, it is providing that customer care. And so thus the name is chairman for the customer. It shows a little bit of advocating for that cause, and I think that just shows kind of where our focus is. So
I appreciated also what you said about your associates, and you use this phrase "working on the front lines," which is obviously true, but also interesting because prior to this pandemic, we didn't necessarily think about those working at grocery stores as on the front lines or essential workers or these first responders, but we're learning that they certainly are in difficult times.
Yeah, it's been very, very difficult at times. I think because let's just be honest. When this first came out, there was so much uncertainty of what it meant, how bad it could be, would be, et cetera. And so, frankly, there was a lot of angst from all of us, including our top leadership. But we focused immediately on taking care of the needs of safety and protection for our associates, because we knew if that wasn't cared for immediately, there was no way we were going to be able to serve the public safety and so safely. So we started to talk to our associates, communicate to them very consistently and with specifics about what our goals were, what we're going to try to do, and how that was going to work into their work life and work environment. Meaning, we're going to shift some hours. We were going to make sure that we basically retained all of our associates. We let them know clearly, we're going to be here now, next week, next month, next year, and many years from now. I mean, we've been around now for 88 years. I'm the third generation. We have fourth generation in the company now. We're looking at succession and a legacy of what my grandparents or founders started. So we're in it all the way, and we just wanted to shore up and reassure them that we're not going anywhere, and we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they had a safe workplace and that they could do the exceptional jobs that they were trained to do and provide to the consumers. I mean, we have chefs and artisans and cheesemongers and fishmongers and artists that do chalkboard art, and all of those people are still working and have been working the whole time. I think the one thing that that was interesting was that we actually hired about 488 people during this pandemic. Because we did have some people that chose to retire. We did have some people that felt it was going to be a little bit difficult to work at the time, and so we understood that completely. But we are also able to offer jobs to those people that may have been out of work because of COVID. So it's just been very fascinating and interesting of how the adaptations of our associates and our leadership, which I just couldn't commend more on taking the role of just making sure that we're going to be able to open the doors safely every day and provide an exceptional service of what we could at the time.
I'm sure that message and that approach gave a lot of comfort at a time of uncertainty, and in order to fulfill that commitment, it meant overcoming a number of challenges. Of all the challenges that you've faced over the past several months, is there one that stands out, and how did you deal with and approach that one?
Yeah, man, I think this was just a challenge-based situation for almost anything that you could imagine.
One after the other, yeah.
Yeah, so we just took it one at a time. That's the only way you could approach this thing. And I think some of the biggest were the fact of getting in stock and really just taking care of the volume of business when people were trying to take care of their home and make sure that they have enough disinfectants and tissue and everything else and those commodities that people were concerned that they may not be able to get. That all went, so quickly in the first couple of days because everyone was quite concerned. And so the restocking part was a real challenge for us to make sure that we were going to be able to continue to open the doors and provide at least a basket of, or at least the essentials. So we started to actually aggressively call our partners. We don't call them vendors and those things. They're true partners because we work very close with them. We care for them, they care for us. And we actually, for example, reached out beyond. We have a great wholesaler with Associated Foods, but then we also understood that there were people like U.S. Foods and these other food service that their business had completely went away, basically, with the restaurants and things like that. So we called them up, and we knew that they had fresh products and they had meats and produce and all of these different products that we could utilize. So we started to partner up and look at different ways to restock and get back into business just as quickly as we can on really the primary items, but also the secondary items for the customer.
What would you share, Bob, to other business owners out there about what you've learned during this crisis about the importance of helping associates and customers? And of course, those are not two separate things. They go hand in hand.
Right. I just think that, you need to be flexible. You need to be adaptable. You need to be able to quickly shift. And that all comes down to leadership, but then very good communication. all the way down to every individual within your company. I think that that's the power of great leadership and communication, is to make sure that you're delivering those steps that you're going to take in order to not only safeguard them, assure them of their employment and safety, but also how do we really take care of the customers, which is the only reason why we're there. And in doing that, they actually step up, they start to help, they engage in actually a different level of, the leaders will step up during those times and actually help everyone else, focus and get the job done. I think the other thing too is just, you need to show what you're doing. You need to prove it out on the ground in the stores. And so, we quickly adapted and realized that we're going to have to really mitigate and put up some safety precautions. So, the sanitary, cleaning the carts, the glass at the check lanes, basically all areas of contact. We shut down our service departments for over a couple of weeks, realizing that, that's just too close, the distancing, which the customers understood. We still had a self-service environment that they could purchase those items from, whether it was the delicatessen, chef-prepared products, or the meat department, or anything else. We just shifted that to, which actually helped both mitigate the health and safety of our customer or our associates that were preparing all the product and producing it, and the customers, because then it was just the one-on-one. They didn't have to interface. Aisle signs to help navigate, giving masks to tens of thousands of masks to customers that maybe didn't have a mask when they come in. I just think all of those things you just have to, apply directly, and you have to put it into action and then show it happening. I think we produced more signage within about a 1 month period. Our marketing department just did a phenomenal job, but there was just a lot of communication that needed to happen, not only internally to our staff, but also to the customers, our employees and the customer.
I've observed that Harmons was one of the first to ask customers to wear masks, which we appreciate here at the Chamber. We were one of the first organizations to ask for a statewide mask requirement, as well as launching the Stay Safe to Stay Open campaign, which of course asks businesses to take the pledge, both for their employees and for their customers to follow health guidance. What can you tell us about what led to that? I mean, being a leader isn't always easy, but to take that step out on what possibly could be a controversial issue, why was that important to Harmons?
Well, we clearly had seen and had heard from the very beginning that there are certain things that we have control of individually, not just as a business, but individually, and that was a face covering, a mask, hygiene, wash and sanitize your hands frequently, social distancing. Those were the three things that had been spoken about from the very beginning. So we knew that that was something that we could take charge of. So we did, and we required that way back in March for all of our associates to wear. And thinking about that, they've been wearing a mask since March. That's not normal. I mean, humans aren't built, we're not built to be wearing a mask. I mean, so that right there just speaks loudly of their commitment. But then we just started to understand that we're actually protecting the public when we're wearing a mask. And each other. We certainly did it for internally, so that we're not going to have any issues internally within the company. But then we needed to have our customers and our amazing community to step up and to also protect us and themselves when they're in those environments. So it was pretty clear that, it wasn't, we was hoping for it to be more of, we're all going to do this now. And we just said, we need to do this. And we took the lead immediately and just said, we're going to not only take it to the stores that encompassed, but all the company. And it's actually been received very positively. We've had many comments socially and through Facebook and our social means of thanking us because listen, we're all in this together. I think that's the number one thing. This is not an individual anything. We're all in this, and if we can help one another, we can get past this. And I think that was one thing that was really critical for us to stand behind. And we're not afraid to take a leadership role when we really do think that it's it's the right thing to do.
You mentioned earlier that this pandemic is just a series of challenges. We know that life is. Life is a series of challenges, but this is really coming at us in a quick succession. It's hard to look into the future under the best of circumstances, even more so under these challenging circumstances. But that's what you get paid to do as the chairman for the customer. As you look into the future for your organization, what does the future hold? How do you prepare for it for customers, for associates, and for your business as a whole?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we're going to keep right on top of this as we have from the beginning, and be agile and flexible to make changes in terms of mitigation or health and safety. But I think the other thing that's really encouraging is the fact that we've been fortunate to be an essential business. I mean, we don't take any of that for granted. We know that there's many people out there that have really been hit hard and continually are being hit hard without getting back to employment and things like that at this time. But as we're looking forward, the one opportunity we've seen was the fact that we have hired and have been able to hire people. We haven't had any job loss whatsoever. In fact, we're building up for the fall because we don't know what that might look like, frankly, with flu season and cold season and everything else. And so we're realizing that some people may have to self-quarantine and things like that if they're coming in, because we're doing all the we're taking temperatures, we're making sure that everyone is safe when they come into work. And if they're not, then they have to go and self-isolate for a period of time, and then they can come back to work. But at the end of the day, what we've been able to do, frankly, is we didn't slow down any remodeling, which is also helping construction workers and subcontractors and things like that. We've re-asphalted, we've expanded different areas within our company. We've build out a distribution center that we've utilized for some time. We're completely remodeling that. We've got a store that's going to be being built in 2021. So we're looking past this. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is, we can only manage what we know now, but we haven't pulled back anything in terms of slowing down. I think that helps not just Harmons and our associates and the 3,700 people that we employ and their families, but it also is the larger community. We support 2,700 or more local businesses selling their products. Different manufacturers of either chocolates or all kinds of different great foods, and we know that is caring for them as well. And so we're looking at this as much broader than within just our 19 stores that we have today. It's how do we continue to help the community, and we haven't pulled back any funding for any of the community and philanthropic things that we've done in the past. Utah Food Bank has been in great need. We haven't done anything to slow that down. We've been putting dollars back into some of our foundations and charitable work that we've done, and we don't see any reason to eliminate that at the time. And I think there's a lot of people that understand that too. But I think it's we are just going to continue to move forward, try to make the right decisions we can at the time, adjust if we need to, but really continue to actually provide a great experience. Have people feel very safe when they come into our stores and welcomed. And we're just so fortunate and respectful of them supporting us through this whole thing as well.
Well, we're fortunate as well, fortunate to have you as such an important pillar of our community. Bob Harmon, Chairman for the Customer, Harmons Grocery Stores. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.